let's just start this thing like we normally do, should we, huh?
Sure.
Let's
go.
Hi there, and welcome to Rainbows of Geekery for the week of April 6th, 2020, episode 46. I'm Dusty Red, and with me as always,
I'm Dusty White.
And let's get right into this month's Geek Battle Cries. This month's Geek Battle Cry of thank yous and shoutouts go first to our Patreon supporters: Bada, Chad, Chris, Clay, Delaron, Donna, Matt, Redcoat, Ryan, Silver Gatomon, and Travis.
If you love our logo as much as we do, be sure to visit the To Improve Your Day page on Facebook to see more of Travis's work.
If our intro gets stuck in your head as it does ours, be sure to check out the musician, Pepper Coyote, on Spotify, or you could purchase his work directly from his Bandcamp page.
Also, be sure to check out our greater family of geekery.
If you've enjoyed some of our commissioned art pieces, be sure to check out Quack Quack Honk Designs at www.quackquackhonk.com.
For more geek news, be sure to listen in every Thursday at the Geek Awakens podcast, hosted by Mitch Ladd.
If you enjoy 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons, be sure to join DM and friend of the show, Pat Rickert, every Monday night for Loaded Dice Adventures on Twitch.
If you have the need for plasti-dipped weapons for a variety of cosplay or live-action role-playing game needs, be sure to check out the Forge of Wrath page on Facebook.
And finally, if you have miniatures that need painting and want to be the envy of all your friends, who better than our friends at Night Owl Painting? Be sure to check out the Night Owl Painting page, and that's Night with a K, on Facebook. And once again, thank you to everyone for your support and your love and your dollar bill, yeah. But since we're on the vein of supporting artists and whatnot, I think you have a few things to say about support locals and arts and stuff.
Yeah, basically kind of piggyback off of last week's episode of if you've got the money, obviously times are tight for certain people right now, but if you have the money, feel free to find a local artist, find a local brewery, find local makers, and tip them. Donate to them, buy a sticker. Any support can help, especially in times like this.
Gift cards go a long way as well. Gift cards, from what I've heard, have the ability. Gift cards have the ability to like help keep businesses afloat as well. So if there's a particular place that you're a big fan of and you're not going to be able to eat there or drink there regularly, buy a gift card. Like that's one way to help keep them afloat in the short term, and then they could recoup afterwards, because there's going to be a lot of people that are done with this that are going to want to go out,
right?
Going to want to drink, going to go on benders and all sorts of things just to get out of the house. So, yeah, just support.
So, kind of on a personal note for me in this vein of just yesterday, was able to give support to a band that has personally been a big part of my life in the last 6 or 7 years. My dad passed away about 6 years ago, and one of his favorite bands, to the point of them playing his memorial when he passed away, was Mother Grove. And Mother Grove had to cancel all of their concerts, basically.
All the live shows.
Their live shows, especially their biggest one, right at St. Patty's Day.
Right.
And the lead singer of Mother Grove basically got on Facebook Live. It's not necessarily the best platform, but it's a platform, and was able to play for 70-some people last night, and they were giving tips and yelling out suggestions and covers and everything. And so it was a moment for me to be in the living room of my co-host here, drink a Guinness, and give support to a artist that normally is fine, but is struggling at this point, and feel a little closer to a past loved one. So again, just reach out, find things you can give to, and support the arts, basically.
And with that, let's get into this week's news. News.
Peep-achu lives. Well, in Melbourne anyway. Last month, an orphaned possum was handed into a wildlife rescue service down under.
Pika, pika, pika.
Born with a genetic mutation, its bright color scheme has earned a very fitting name called Peep-achu. Its usually brown fur has mutated to be a golden yellow. Due to this, sadly, the small possum won't be able to be re-released out back into the wild. Its bright fur would make it a target for bigger predators.
Did you just see that peep run by? Nom, 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 nom.
I mean, that's kind of...
Yeah, it's a peep. It's a possum peep.
So Australian possums are way different than American possums, where possums here are...
Scream at own ass. I get it.
They are kind of less furry and more...
Which one's, American or the
American?
Oh, American. Yeah, they're more hairy and they're hairy, less furry.
Nightmare-inducing?
I like possums personally.
I don't mind them.
They definitely ugly. They don't get love because they're ugly, but they're actually really helpful for North American ecosystem. But they ugly.
Well, Australian possums are kind of more cute and fluffy, and
ooh, fluffy.
So
and peep colored.
This one is definitely does look like Peep-achu. Kind of throwback to any Pokemon games that you played. Obviously, we're like the opposite. I know I kind of made the joke last week, but this is the opposite of Pokemon Go summer.
Pokemon stay the F at home.
But did you play a lot of Pokemon games?
I did a little bit. I mean, I think I was cursed with the love for Squaresoft stuff that Pokemon was like introduction to role-playing games.
Okay.
Because it had a lot of role-playing game feels. You had your character. Yeah, you had one character, but really you had each Pokemon was kind of its own character. You got to name them. You were able to adjust their stats, or their skill sets and whatnot, and able to develop like kind of a team with it. It was really introductory to role-playing style, like role-playing games, role-playing style games and such. When I got into it, I played the original Pokemon. I had Pokemon Yellow. And then I think I had Pokemon Moon.
Okay.
And then I just didn't get it. Like, from that point on, my Pokemon kinship was through Smash Brothers. And I was like, that was basically it.
Right.
But all of my other experiences with it was playing the typical Squaresoft RPGs, which had that feel from early Pokemon. So it was a bleed for me to go, okay, playing Pokemon, here we go, wandering around, do this. Oh, wait, I really kind of like this style of game. Started getting into Final Fantasy, getting into Secret of Evermore, Secret of Mana, Breath of Fire. I want to say Breath of the Wild, but Breath of Fire, Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past, all those games. So that was my affiliation with Pokemon.
It was almost like your gateway drug.
I think I was in a weird age group where I kind of aged out of it.
That's what I feel like I was too.
But only by a couple years.
I remember playing or borrowing the original Yellow from a friend, and I know it was either late middle school or early high school. Okay. And like digging out my old brick of a Game Boy and remembering playing it. And
the black and white, or you want to say black and white, but it was really like green and beige and darker green.
Yeah, exactly. Trying to play by the streetlights as parents were driving because you had no light. So
can we take a moment to like actually praise backlighting? Instead of having to shell out $25 on a little like magnifying glass light that
So I had one.
Okay.
I had one because you have to understand, my brother being 8 years older than I was, we would go camping 2 weeks out of the summer, and what kept your kids quiet in the back seat before there was like, backseat DVD players.
Before we completely disconnect you from the world, here's your last opportunity to play something.
So we both had Game Boys, and we both had Game Boy, like whatever flashlight thing that was. Mm-hmm. So at night, if it was raining in the camper or something like that, we still were able to game, basically.
Sure.
My brother was a way bigger gamer than I was, but I remember playing Pokemon, and I remember it being, maybe that might have been the drop in the bucket as starting me hating grinding, because that's really all Pokemon was.
You do not like...
I
Well,
don't.
and that's kind of one of the things, too, that kind of turned me off from the Pokemon games itself, was that there was an aspect of grinding to it. Now... I never really got into, as our friend here got into Pokemon card games.
Right.
I think that was also another gateway. That was I won't say simplified,
Dude,
but another.
I was playing Pogs when people were playing Pokemon card games. I liked action.
But I had Magic the Gathering,
which I didn't get into. I didn't start playing until I was like 15, 16.
But
so later.
Some could argue that Pokemon was, I won't say simplified, because once upon a time Magic the Gathering was a fairly simplified game as well.
Right.
But then as it does, it expanded, added more abilities. Pokemon kind of was a really solid card game that marketed to a teenager.
Mm-hmm.
It was a prime teenager game. Magic seemed to kind of touch more on the
older to
fedora neckbeard type, the types that went that way. No, but it kind of went to a slightly older crowd because it involved more stuff, and then even the lore within Magic the Gathering kind of got darker and deeper. That some 12-year-old's not gonna get who, I want to say Ezra, but I'm trying to remember some of the characters, but got into that whole saga and stuff. Pokemon was friendlier. It was an easy access, which in some ways I'm very curious to know how responsible is Pokemon for a lot of today's nerds being who they are, being able to play these kind of card games, being able to play these kind of role-playing style games.
Well, to kind of like throw back into the original start of the joke, but I know that there were parents out there that were starting to get to play with their kids playing Pokemon Go, and there's a little bit more of a connection of, a preteen going up to mom and dad and being like, oh, I want to play this game. It requires me to go walking. Oh, what game? Pokemon. Oh. And then dad
goes upstairs and pulls out his box of cards that he used to have. Oh, here's things, because
here's the lore, the passing down of the lore.
Here's a holographic Charizard card. Like, there you go. Enjoy.
So to kind of go with our talk about earlier with the gift cards, corporate companies are kind of getting on board with that. More to love than just their great burrito bowls now. Chipotle Mexican Grill is now developing a gift card program to help customers show their appreciation for those on the front lines of this pandemic. A portion of what patrons spend on gift cards can go to supporting healthcare heroes. Along with all of this in celebration of National Burrito Day, April 2nd, the week of April 6th, so this upcoming Monday, Chipotle will be delivering free burrito boxes to healthcare workers to thank them for their critical efforts during the corona outbreak.
Okay, I know the size of a burrito bowl. What is the size of a burrito box?
I don't know, but they're shooting to distribute over 100,000 burritos. So, along with gift cards being purchased from your local breweries or your local hot craft stuff,
right?
You can now go to one of your more favorite chain restaurants. I personally do really enjoy Chipotle.
I enjoy shitting my pants as well.
It's not Taco Bell.
Taco Bell does other things too that we're not allowed to say on Twitch, I'm sure.
But you can also get a gift card for something from Chipotle, and their portion of that will, I believe, up to 10% will be going directly towards the healthcare professionals and supporting some of the people that are, like, again, really in the front lines of this problem in this pandemic.
I like Chipotle. They've done a lot of free deliveries as well in the area. They've had their issues publicly because, again, you have the issue of somebody doing something stupid and the whole company gets blamed. Ultimately, I've always enjoyed Chipotle. Like, it's American Mexican food, but I don't care. You're going to give me a bowl of rice, which is pretty good. Like, the rice and cilantro mix is pretty solid.
Mm-hmm.
I do the fajita toppings because every staple of my food is onion, green pepper, and celery or some sort, the Holy Trinity. I blame my mom for that, who I know is watching. So that with your meats, which are really good meats, like they cook them well, and your salsa and whatnot, like you can't argue that. It is the Subway of burritos. You pick your stuff and you go. But the fact that they're stepping above and beyond and doing all sorts of additional things is really good. Kind of piggybacking on supporting your local stuff too. You know, I get my sheet metal sombrero going on.
Trademark me.
I do worry that I'm not saying that this virus and this corona thing was perpetuated by any groups or anything.
Oh gosh. Okay.
But I will say, be mindful of the fact that the people who are basically the companies that are going to benefit from this is going to be your Walmarts, your Targets, your big box stuff. How many companies do you know that are small, you know, mom and pop owned places in the area that are probably going to shut down because of this pandemic?
Sadly, it's unfortunate, very true. And I'm already seeing waves of it online. A couple restaurants that my friends love to go to on a regular basis are now closing, and they're giving money back for like hosting events and stuff like that, because they know that in a month, hopefully in a month, that we're back up and functioning as regular society, they're not recovering from this.
And so that's why I want to put the extra emphasis on Target's going to be fine. Walmart's going to be fine. Like, even Best Buy is going to be fine when this is all done, because these are big boxes that are able to distribute their overall wealth amongst whatever areas suffer more or less. But, you know, little sushi stop around the corner will probably be the first to go, because it's owned by three little, you know, I think it's like two old ladies and an old guy that run this place that can't take this hit.
Right.
And, if I want to get even worse, because it's a sushi place, some people could be ignorant and go, oh, the China virus, and not go get
sushi
Chinese
or
food
something
or sushi
that they would have done
else.
normally had this not been the circumstances.
So just don't let that cloud your judgments and stuff. Support your local stuff. Target will be fine. Walmart will be fine. If anything, if you get a you know, monthly stipend, or you're fortunate like myself or you who are working and have an income that really is being less affected, because I know I'm not going out drinking and eating anymore.
Right.
Like, I've been saving money because I've been staying indoors. I'm sure my electric bill's going to suck, but maybe you take a couple of those dollars and put it towards tips, or you put it on your local stuff, or maybe you spend to help that local economy.
Well, weren't you just
flourish.
telling me yesterday that radio stations are starting to kind of give local spots
so I'm not sure,
minute commercials?
I'm not sure where it is like globally, but I know here in Chicago, I think it's The Drive and XRT are doing I guess a program or a thing where they're reaching out to local communities and giving them 1-minute commercials to be like, hey, promote your stuff. This is the time where you small businesses are going to need the help from stuff. And a lot of places are just straight up hot dog joints, because I don't know about you, but if the world is going to be depressed, I'm going to have a hot dog, a proper hot dog too. That's what if I'm on death row,
right,
one of my last meals is going to be a god darn Chicago hot dog. How about you? Horseshoe?
Probably. I mean, yeah. Not gonna lie, I really miss a hometown horseshoe from Darcy's Pint real bad.
See, I'm lactose intolerant, so my last meal may consist of a Chicago style hot dog, an Al's beef sandwich, and a Shamrock shake. That's how I'm going out.
To fumigate the rest of the people that are going out.
If I'm dead, I'm taking everybody with me.
Chat room, tell us what your death row
last meal.
Your last meal would be.
That tangent hard.
So, Warner Media has announced that DC Comics is donating $250,000 to the Book Industry Charitable Foundation, aimed at helping comic book stores and their employees. In addition to DC's donation, Chief Creative Officer / publisher Jim Lee will be auctioning 60 original sketches of DC characters, with the proceeds donated to support the cause. Lee will auction one sketch a day on eBay. eBay of all places.
Support your local business.
I mean, I guess it's because Amazon really hasn't gotten into the auction part of it things.
Kind of surprised, but okay.
eBay. Lee will auction one sketch a day on eBay for the next 2 months, including Nightwing, which is current bid at $4,300, and Bizarro, which is currently bidded at $2,300.
Okay, nobody likes Bizarro. It's all about Nightwing. Nightwing's where it's at. The fact that you said EB kind of made me giggle, though, because I went EB Games, Electronic Boutique.
Fair.
Like, now we're going Grey Muzzle. Start naming off some old stuff. Funko Land, Electronics Boutique. Yeah, I mean, it's more people doing things to help out and using your talents that don't involve... I guess right now is a good time to realize how much the arts and entertainment are valuable. Like, I've always been a big proponent of putting the A in STEM. For science and technology, like for the research stuff, like arts is huge. There is a scientific backing with art. Mm-hmm. Why is something appealing? Why isn't you're a photographer and you look for your perfect spiral? Ooh, Al's beef and taco E. So it's a case of what do you do with these skills that we take for granted? Art, music, entertainment. Breweries and stuff is kind of its own art. Yeah, it's a business, but it's kind of its own art form because taste is very subjective. I like sours and saisons, and obviously I'm drinking an old fashioned now. You like more stouts and porters,
a little bit heavier. It's stuff brewed with. I'm just a bitter person, so I like bitter things.
Generally, anything that starts with imperial is where you go.
You're not wrong.
Why does this come in a shot glass? Because it's 24% alcohol. Get me a pint. Like, that's pretty much you.
You're not wrong.
So again, if you want to go to eBay and go looking for auctions of these artists, and again, you don't have to necessarily go through DC artists, but look around through a variety of communities that have this. I mean, again, we have our own that we have already thanked for Your Day Improved.
Right.
But Travis is our artist with the logo and everything else. Look for these artists who may be looking to pick up an extra buck or two to do something that'll really make you happy. Like, especially now, it's early in April, but when you're hitting like April 15th, because it's close to tax day anyway, but you hit mid-April when you've been sitting inside for a couple weeks now, and then all of a sudden you get a package delivered with some sort of sketch or digital print or something that you're excited about. Take solace in that little moment of joy. Trust me, it's something
or even
big.
I'll kind of tie two of these things together and go, don't get something for yourself. Get a gift for one of your heroes. Like, I personally have a handful of people that are in the medical field that are frontlining. They're giving basically.
One of them's got a stupid mustache.
Again, I have artists that I appreciate, and I would love to be like, hey, here's some money, draw
We've
this
saved.
thing. Like, find somebody's favorite animal and be like, draw them.
Whoa, your furry side's kicking in. The furry's
like,
kicking in.
I have friends that have just various hobbies that you can be like, hey, can you sketch blah and get it as a digital form and send it to them? Make somebody else smile. Like, I'm a big proponent of if you can't think of something to get yourself, get it for somebody else, because it's that cycle of paying it forward.
You're also a big fan of don't give me things I have to dust.
Oh, yeah.
And if you can't say something nice,
say something cool.
And that'll conclude this week's news. So, obviously things have been weird. We've all been inside. We couldn't do a whole lot. We didn't want to do back-to-back Grey Muzzle Gaming. But in a way, we're kind of due back-to-back Grey Muzzle Gaming, except we're also going to have it tied into adventures, because there's things you could still do to remember that while it is not quite, while they say it's social distancing, It's actually physical distancing.
Right.
It's not really social distancing. Reach out to people online. It's 2020, people. We have ways to be able to communicate like to hundreds of people online simultaneously.
So on that note, we'll go ahead and begin our adventure awaits.
Adventure awaits!
So we've had an episode previous to this that really went over well within the community, and we kind of want to touch base with it a little bit, especially nowadays, and it's about mental health. And we have to go on record, just like we did before, and go, we are not professionals. We do not claim to be. We are not mental health professionals. If anything, I only say I'm slightly better than Red just because I have a psychology background, but I don't.
So do I. Moraine Valley, wood. Anyway.
So I currently am going to therapy. So I have a little bit of more experience with the community, the mental health community. But this is a really good topic for talking about coping mechanisms, because again, to be 100% completely personally honest, I have not been coping well.
Mm-hmm. Check on your extroverted friends. They are bored.
I have a lot of coping mechanisms to deal with my everyday life by having things to look forward to. And a lot of that comes from I get to LARP on weekends. I get to see my friends in Michigan on weekends. I always have an active social life. Welp. Little did I know I needed to have a subsection of coping mechanisms of, if in case pandemic, see section C. Well, I don't have a section C. So I personally have been kind of struggling with trying to keep my brain active and my mental health happy, or at least content. So we kind of wanted to talk and go over some things, and it kind of bleeds from last weekend's or last show's background, but basically finding ways to still get out and do things. Like, I know there's a shelter in place for us in Illinois. It's probably a lot of other people. I know Michigan, Missouri, Florida just went into shelter in place. But it doesn't mean, hey, there's zombies knocking at your door, don't go outside.
Correct.
So my first real coping mechanism, and I got to finally do it just this week, was to go out and walk. Throw your headphones on your phone, go and do a 30-minute, hour-long walk, get some sun on your face, feel some fresh air. I know lots of our listeners have dogs that are probably kind of tired of going for walks by this point daily, but get out, get some activity, get your blood flowing, get out of the four walls that you're essentially living in, and move about. So that's kind of my first one.
We had the fortune of actually being able to, again, we're in Chicago, or Chicagoland area, and we had the fortune of having back-to-back 65-degree days in early April. Bear in mind, last year in late April, it snowed.
That's right.
So
I feel like it's... Woo! I feel like because it snowed so early in October this year, because we had snow on the ground for Halloween.
Do you think it's not going to snow at the end of April?
Shh.
You silly woman. Yeah, and now it's 40. Like, what do you expect from Chicago weather? But because we had back-to-back days where it was dry the week prior and just kind of nice those 2 days for Thursday, Friday, we went disc golfing. Mm-hmm. It's a good way to practice. It's social or physical distancing because realistically, you shouldn't be next to someone who's whipping their arm around throwing a disc. If you're going with somebody, you've already been exposed to them and whatever their lifestyle is, so it is. So be it. Chances are, knowing how you throw and I throw, after the first throw, we're going to be on opposite sides of the field anyway.
Right.
So we're not going to be... So things like that kind of... Golf isn't... Although I know a lot of golf courses are just closed down in general.
Yeah, because I feel like...
anything with a gate.
I actually read locally for Springfield, being from originally from there, that one of my driving, like the Knights Action driving range in Springfield, Illinois, was open. Yeah. You could go. They will place your bucket of balls outside the door. You basically call it in. You have to have your own,
but again,
equipment.
You don't want to be within 6 feet of somebody swinging a freaking metal, a driver around.
Right.
So you could still... Now, obviously, you want to make sure you're using your own drivers. You're really not touching the ball too much. But if you are touching the ball, gloves
they were all
and
being sanitized.
Yeah. So realistically, it is a case of physical distancing, not quite social distancing. Remember, you can still go out and do things. You may run into a situation where you turn into my sister and go, "Oh no, a human," but you could still keep your distance from people. And, I've seen pictures, and I've actually, someone from Michigan was, they went to go visit their friend. They sat opposite sides of the patio door and did like a little lunch date.
Right.
Like, it's not like it's going to kill you going outside.
I happened to see like a group of, like, I lump them in as like soccer dads or something, sitting on their lawn, like their folding chairs or their lawn chairs in the parking lot of Portillo's yesterday.
I mean... If I'm going to die, we've already established that.
I'm just saying, there's definitely things you can do. Reach out. Even us missing LARPing. Unfortunately,
I miss LARPing. I miss LARPing.
Our suggestion from one of our listeners, Becky, did say, hop on Zoom, hop on a chat scenario and LARP as your character. I personally don't have any of my LARP gear with me, so it'll be a little bit of a more mental step for me. But something like that, just role-playing in a chat room, role-playing with your friends, role-playing on your phone.
Again, from last week, using Jackbox games. Yep. I have a different coping mechanism than you. You do. You have therapy. You have, like, proper healthy coping mechanism. I am a male in was raised in a... I can't say raised, but I grew up with a fairly... toxic masculine mentality that basically states that you have a feeling, you box that sumbitch up and you bury it deep and you bury it down until you die. You better not be crying, boy. You suck that up and you don't. So I definitely have a different coping mechanism where if I'm bothered or if I'm dealing with stuff, I will distract myself. I am far more distraction, and I'm also smart enough to know that alcohol is not a coping mechanism. It is enjoyable, but it's not a full-blown coping mechanism. Now, if you do something that's coping, let's say if I'm just killing...
I'm just going to... I have to pause because
okay, go for it.
I saw a video, Hood and Dagger saying, I saw a video of a neighbor delivering a beer to another neighbor via RC car. Well done. Well done.
Drones as well. Drone dropping... There's a video of someone drone dropping a joint to their friend because the little drone, just a little airmail and drop the joint to somebody. Like, all right, it's legal in Michigan and Illinois, so
as long as you don't cross those state lines.
Yeah, get on that, Indiana. So you're dealing, and Arizona needs to get on that stuff too. There's a lot of older retired people in Arizona. Like, you would think
a little box of gummies.
You would think they would be one of the first to be like, "Hey, our old people got hip and knee pain and back pain. Take a gummy, chill out, have a good night." But yeah, so it's a case of being able to do things, and for me, I distract and I play a lot of video games.
Yeah.
I've been fortunate enough to have a crew that I'm able to play video games with.
Shameless plug
for the OEF. But be able to play with a lot of guys that, I guess the pride too, because we do have Dave that's a listener, and I like playing with him too. Well, Jote doesn't play Vermintide with us. if she got on that.
Listen, I feel like it's because you don't want Jotei to play with
No,
you.
if
Because she would destroy you all.
No, she's teamwork. I would take her. Look, I would take her over Mathis running ahead of us all the time. Yeah,
you,
anyway.
Matt.
But yeah, so ultimately, like having these games that allow us to play and stay connected, even just vocally, just hearing our friends'
Another
voices.
human speaking?
Because I get tired of hearing you speak, so...
It's mutual, I assure you.
So it's just really good times. And joking aside, it is good to still reach out to people, to find things that are, keeping you guys sane. Because again, we're only in day 4, well, when this comes out, day 6 of, like, really a national quarantine. Because really, I consider April 1st. Like, all of April is pretty much shut down.
It's supposed to be. Like, let's be, like, kind of to tangent away from it, it's kind of a very poignant point to say a lot of these states that aren't closed down or at least in a shelter in place like, oh, you go over to that side of the pool to pee.
But it's also, why are you peeing in pools?
But that's what I'm saying. It's like,
the president also did say it's a national situation.
But
regardless, are you going to all of a sudden become states' rights, Sammy?
No, I'm just saying.
I mean, Illinois is technically states' rights, but we're just saying.
Nobody, Anyway, we're not political.
Getting
here,
political.
Gray muzzle.
But seriously, it is a case of if the president's saying, hey, we're going to extend this until the end of April.
Right.
Then regardless of what the individual states are doing, realistically, it's a point of, hey, it's broad enough on a national level to look and go, okay, let's keep stay at home April.
Indoors. Well, not stay indoors, but social distance.
Physical distance.
Yeah. The other part of my list here was, because we already talked about disc golfing, obviously gaming, something that was actually suggested by my therapist was the Calm app. Some of you might have seen on Facebook where the actor that plays Ron Swanson...
Come on. Come on.
I can't think of it right now. Anyway, his voice, it's being advertised as, apparently my voice is a natural sedative, but he is, and several other celebrities are starting to read books for people to listen to as they're trying to go to sleep. I personally, like I said, I've been struggling to sleep at night just to calm my brain enough because, again, I have no real distraction or break from work to, hey, Red's home, we're hanging out, to now bed. I'm having a hard time struggling with that.
Nick Offerman, by the way.
Thank you.
But yeah, it is that's where we get into a vice versa. I get to go to work.
Right.
It's a ghost town. There's like 5 of us there, but I get to go to work. I get to maintain some normality of I'm up at 6:30. Well, wait. The alarm goes off at 6:30. I'm up at like 6:35, and I'm out the door by 6:40, and I'm at work at 6:59. It's going to mess with me once this is all done, because I don't know how long it'll actually take me to get to my new job.
You gotta tell your new boss, hey, after after all this pandemic stuff is done, I need like a day or two to adjust.
Because I don't know how long it takes me to get to work. Right. I don't know how long it takes me to get home. Like, I get to work, it's like 6:30, roads are clear. I'm sure I'm gonna, like, when everything's done and over, get on the road and go, there's a car? There's more cars? So, yeah. As I said before, all I'm hearing from this pandemic is just lanes of traffic opening up for me. Thank you, Bill Burr. So, yeah, it is a case of just having that. For me, there's a sense of, I know what day it is.
Right.
I know Monday through Friday.
I personally did struggle with that this week.
I messed with you and felt bad about it. You're like, is today Thursday? I'm like, yeah, totally. And
no,
you're like,
hold on.
Is it Friday?
Said, today is Friday, correct?
And I went, no.
And you like straight faced me, and I'm not a gullible person. I'm really not. I ask my team. I am paranoid actually to a T, but I went, no, really, is it Friday? And really had to think about it because it's just, again, for me, because I am sheltered, basically, work from home. all my days start blurring together. I have to physically put my laptop away, change up the structure of the living room, which basically is my office during the day.
You've feng shuied my apartment like 4 times now.
But it's one of those things of there has to be some type of, okay, I am not at work anymore. And whereas on a regular work day, I would be going into the office, coming home from the office, being fine. But because I work from home, or some of our listeners are now, everyone is at home. There is no schedule. There's no
sending the kids off to school.
Right. There is no structure to a lot of stuff. So again, the Calm app, some of the other suggestions that obviously I've been paying attention to is get up, shower, get out of your PJs, put on real clothes, make sure you're kind of doing everything on a structure, or you make sure that you still take your break, even though you technically don't have one. Like, I could do housework during the day or something like that. Whereas when you're in the office, that wouldn't be a scenario. Right. So yeah, just make sure you're trying to keep some structure, like obviously grocery shopping. And I have seen this though. When you are grocery shopping, it is not a date. It is not a, hey, I want out of the house before I kill my significant other. It is get in, get your list, and get out. And kudos to a lot of grocery stores. Just the local Jewel that's down the street from Red's is got a lot of good things in place, like sneeze guards, basically.
Well, and again, we talked about this. We talked about this a little bit of like, I know Jewel Osco is a union run gig, I guess you want to put it that way. Their employees are unionized, so it doesn't take much for Jewel to go, hey, we want basically sneeze guards or spit
keep
guards,
us as safe as we can
by the cashier, like by the cashier. I can't see any company going, no, we're not going to do that,
right? Because
the last thing you want at this time is for a company like Jewel to go on strike,
right?
Like, that'll look so bad, and they're still like.
But they are, that kind of stuff is happening. Instacart, Amazon, some of the companies that are dependent on some of that stuff they are going on strike. They are choosing this prime opportunity to be like, no, we are hazard workers, and we want.
So we're paying attention to chat too as well, and I would like everybody to kind of list something that's kind of, if you're working from home or just dealing with home on a regular basis, what are some hobbies or routines is the word I want to use. What are some routines that you guys do to maintain your sanity? I mean, from here, I am seeing Camper Dave says that a morning shower is the most important thing for me to not get into a funk. It's I mean, obviously.
Like a literal.
Like a literal funk. But, I mean, yeah, you wake up, you jump into shower. It becomes a mental, physical, it's a physical stimuli because it wakes you up, but it's also a stimuli to go, the day has begun. It is a new day. It is not 4 a.m. and I'm still in my 3rd raid in WoW or something. Like, I lived that life.
I know you did. I
lived that life. 3D printing and crafting. So you have a lot of crafters and you have a lot of people who are building and making things, kind of have that free time on their hands to be able to do that. Hey Jote says that she has to get dressed and wear shoes all day, which something as silly as shoes can make a difference. To be like, hey, I'm a professional now.
Yep.
I know Jote's husband even wears slacks. Like, around the house, he does a lot of working from home as well, but he wears slacks. He wears
because
a shirt.
It's professional.
It's a mental shift.
Yep.
I've also often joked that if I worked from home, I would have a room in the house that was just the work room, and I would not go into it. Now,
to be fair,
I'm assuming I have enough money to A, work from home, and B, buy a house that I can have a full bedroom that I'm not using.
Before this experience happened, that was what the requirements for a lot of companies to work from home was. I, working from the collection industry as I have previously before my current career, was if you wanted to work from home, you had to have a separate room, a secure lock on that room, and basically it was your cubicle. You had to have a separate space away from a room or a house-like environment to be able to work. And actually, Jote brings up a good point. I have it on my list here. Podcasting.
Well, that's been drowning us a little bit because there's a lot of new startup podcasters where, who knows? Obviously competition, yay. I'm a fan of competition. I also hate competition. We'll see who keeps this going for any length of time. But even if you don't keep it going, even if you don't go, hey, I want to still keep making a podcast in 2 years.
You're still getting the mental stimulation from doing something.
You're having conversations. Yep. You're having this. My own sister says that Disney Plus apparently tells you the day. So if you are just straight up like Disney Plus and all day, you at least know you blew your Monday away. So you're good. You're good there.
But yeah, podcasting is one of the things on my list here. Hiking, obviously we talked about gaming, but getting out and just doing stuff again, it's real easy to get into the mindset of pandemic equals apocalypse, basically.
End of the world, zombies,
right?
etc.
But that's not the case. Like, we can go out, we can go to our essential businesses, like getting gas and
you can't hit the clubs,
groceries, and
you
stuff
can
like
still
that.
Support your breweries by going and picking up whatever they got, curbside stuff. I mean, we went to Panda Express and we pulled in, and lady came out and just like, give me your order. Went in, came out, made us food. Like,
right.
Cool. Today we even did sushi. Yep. A little favorite spot, and I tipped them well. I was like, hey, I know times are tough. Here you go. Nice big tip. And hashtag humble brag. And thank you. But yeah, like they were like, hey, go through the they have a drive-through window. It's not for the sushi. It's just the building that they have has a drive-through.
Got it.
That was like taped up. But they like cut the tape like an old like an archaeological dig. It was like, use the drive-through. I'm like, I'm not driving. Like, use the walk-through, and we'll give you your food. So
again, get out there. Still try to find. Again, you can't really hang out with people unless you're quarantined with them. Obviously, some of our friends are quarantined with significant others. Please don't kill them. Jail will still be expensive, and you'll most likely still get sick. So stop that.
Unless you get lucky and get jailed in with like the Tiger King. Are we going into that?
No. Let's save that, because that's a rabbit hole for me. Let's keep that on the docket. But yeah. Again, get out there, do some of your outdoor activities. I've been thinking that even minus disc golfing, maybe getting out when it's warmer and sparring and getting some LARP of our getting our LARP fight on. We do have hopefully a weekend that we need to run in September that we need to still be
I'm nervous about that one.
Up to par with our skills. So get out, get some fresh air. Stay mentally sane. That's kind of my sign off for a lot of people nowadays when I talk to them is how are you staying sane? Not how are you, because sometimes that's a loaded question, but how are you staying sane?
And so we have about 15 minutes left. And so let's get into some listener questions. Obviously, we have Grey Muzzle Geekery live on Twitch to chat that we could see. We love Matt as well, apparently. However, we do have a couple questions from some people. And as usual, our friend Seabass does have... I don't know where it went. No, it's not from the bottom. What?
That one?
That's not it.
Oh,
you're looking at the wrong thing. Now you're throwing me off. So, again, listener questions. Well, I'll take some listener questions, and we'll go on from there as we'll more or less shut down from this point. But... we have heard from Seabass of the question for us personally. What would be the worst game, or rather the worst game world, be it video or otherwise, that you would be trapped in? And what would be the best? And why? So, we're looking at game world. Doesn't have to be a video game, I guess. So, I mean, obviously, Clue would be a crappy world to be in because somebody gonna die or go to jail. But especially, Clue would be bad because you don't even know if you killed somebody. You're just like, did I kill them? Sleepwalking sucks. Woo! But if you're in a world, you're in a game world, what would be terrible and what would be good? What would you be? Obviously, I'm gonna go more video gamey, but.
I was also going to kind of go video gaming. Again, I'm not a real gamer myself, but I watch enough Twitch and YouTube and stuff to see some of my more enjoyable YouTubers play some of the games. I think it was called Amnesia.
Oh, worst?
Yeah. No, my best.
Hey.
But Amnesia would be really... I hate jump scares in all shape and forms. So playing a game like even Silent Hill, Resident Evil, they all have jump scares. So anything where I'm running around and there's a possible like jump scare.
You like
in
being
my
scared.
future,
You don't like being startled.
I don't.
Okay, I'm with you on that because I don't mind being scared. I like being uncomfortable. I like being in a situation where I don't know. I'm already mentally challenged. Thank you very much. Be in a situation where I feel challenged, or I feel that I'm dealing with a situation that's fine. Scaring and fear and like psychological thrillers.
Okay.
Kind of play on that. I'm jumping out of the woods and just go because I can't. I hate that. I hate just turning the corner. There's dude or something else. Well,
we've already talked about that. I'm a fight, not flight person. Yeah,
I've definitely jumped out at you and you had your fist like balled up and I'm like, I'm gonna break my nose.
So anything where I would be in a scenario and I possibly have to hide in a cupboard and like cover my breathing not to be heard, I don't think I would survive very long.
But I think that's more psychological. I don't think that's jump scare and startle. You have to do a thing to ensure your survival. Can you do that? That's fine. I hate here it comes and it jumps out at you. Oh, she finished her old fashioned, ladies and gentlemen. Today we're drinking
Freedom of Press. It is a session sour ale with currants from Revolution Brewing.
Chicago brew.
It is.
Northside. So yeah, I mean, again, you got to dance that line. The jump scare is when, like, Five Nights at Freddy is obviously known for its jump scares because it's quiet, jump out. It's quiet, jump out. Something like Amnesia is
hunt.
Well, the thing about Amnesia in games like that is it isn't the actual scare that freaks you out. It isn't the thing jumping out getting you. It's the build-up, the anticipation, and that's what makes a good horror game or a good horror movie is. How far do we push that I guess the narrative of freaking you out to get that endorphin rush at the end? Because that's what it is. It's building anxiety, endorphin release. So that's so for you, Amnesia would be worse. What would be one of the best worlds you'd be in?
Man. I don't know, a world where I get my own personal Yoshi?
Beep, 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 boop, beep, 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 boop, beep, beep. Bum, 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 bum,
I'm trying to think of some of my favorite games, but I don't think a video game is, like, video games... I don't know, maybe the one tree or the first tree that we picked up recently, where I'm just like a fox running on some snow and like going up hills and finding stars, like something very more I don't know, like Little Big Planet, like I'm just a sack boy in a little sack world.
I am literally a sack boy.
So something obviously more kiddish would be more my side.
And to piggyback on that, Camper Dave brings up a good point of, are you? And are you Dusty White? Well, Dusty White's loaded.
Am I Dusty? Because I could rock some hardcore games as Dusty, like no problem. Am I Kristen? Maybe a little bit different. Yeah, that's a really good subsection there, Camper Dave.
So what are you looking at? Like Mario World, Yoshi's Island type thing in that world?
Probably more Yoshi Island because I don't want to be Mario just punching Yoshi in the back of the head to get his tongue to stick out. But
it's called the Donkey Punch. Go look it up on Google, children. While you're at it, ask your mom what a power bottom is. Ow, sorry.
Anyway, what about you? What would be a good game?
I mean, I've been playing it a lot and thinking about it. If I was me in Warhammer Vermintide,
okay,
I'm dead. I'm just dead. So as bad as that would be, I would just there's no chance of survival. Make your time. All your base are belong to us.
Ooh, Portal. I would so do Portal. Sorry.
How did you get all your base are belong to us and get Portal from that?
But I would do Portal.
Keep drinking your sour session. I mean, yeah, I never thought of really worse. Like, there's a lot of, especially if I'm me, there's a lot of worlds and games that just suck. Robot voice? Did I make robot voice?
No.
Are we robot? Anyway. So I don't know what that would be in terms of, like, really bad for us. I think maybe a good world to belong to. I mean, obviously Animal Crossing sounds like a pretty pleasant world.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Where I could just kind of like, well, no, because then I have to collect tarantulas. I'm out. I am out.
I mean, fishing all day doesn't sound too bad for me.
Even Legend of Zelda, everybody basically dies. So unless you're Link or Zelda, like, you're pretty much doomed. Pokemon could be fun.
Listen, everybody would get tired of throwing Pokeballs. Let's be honest.
No, because my luck is, like, I wouldn't be... No, my luck, I'd be the Steve Irwin of Pokemon and get bit by my own freaking... my own Ekans or something and be like, well, that ain't gonna heal, and I die. Like, so... Oh,
again, Tiger King is Steve Irwin's Wario.
No. No. Yeah, there's too many games that were like, there's apocalyptic endings where... I mean, it gives you a good viewpoint of, like, how many games are out there or how many shows or whatnot that have fully fleshed out worlds where if you aren't this character... you're able to still exist or be alive. Right. If the camera pulled away and went, hey, you're not the main protagonist. You're not even a sidekick. You're a dude that sells flowers or sells potions and stuff. In that case, survive? Paperboy. I live in Paperboy. I wake up, I get my newspaper, and I'm done. Maybe I'm fortunate enough to own one of the dogs.
Speaking of Game Boy games that I used to play in the backseat of my parents' car.
I own the dog that chases the damn kid that breaks my window every time.
Only when you get far enough, though.
Yeah. As for Nightmarish games, I think all of them is a good example. Because, again, Hyrule would be cool until the world ends and then you're enslaved or dead. Pokemon could be fun because you get to see a bunch of stuff, but I really don't like... If Pokemon was real life, you would have a dog or a cat that would walk up to you and go, dog, 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 dog.
Dog,
like,
dog.
No, I don't want you dog, dog, but dog, dog, dog. Dog, dog, dog. No, I don't want dog, dog. Or cat, cat. Bird, bird, bird. Bird, bird. Horse. Horse, horse, horse. Horse, horse, rhino.
Fox, fox.
No, fox, fox, fox. I like regular fox, fox noises. Yeah. Elephant. Elephant. Yeah, no, I'm good. I'm good with that. Another question that was asked, since we've got a little bit of time left. We got about 5 minutes left. Another question would be, we're looking at the thing.
Red Reese's? What are your favorite guilty pleasure B movies?
You first this time. I'm not a movie watcher, but...
So, I would consider it a B movie just because it was not known, but it's called The Polar Bear King, and I don't know
what's with you in
where
Animal Kings?
I do not know where my mom found this video, and it was a VHS, but it was called
So for you non-gray muzzles, a VHS...
It was called The Polar Bear King, and it was a VHS that I watched the crap out of, and it was bad act. It was definitely a B movie. Like, I could see this being an MSTK.
Like, okay.
Yeah, it was bad acting, but it was basically like a Iceland princess that fell in love with a prince that was a polar bear during the day, but became a prince at night. But her sisters tried to make it so that she wouldn't see him, because if she saw him as the prince at night, it would make it mean that he had to be a polar bear for like it was a B movie. I don't know what else. Yes, I don't know what else to call it. But that's probably my favorite guilty pleasure B movie. I recently actually saw, I wouldn't necessarily call it a B movie, but it is on Disney Plus, and it's called Flight of the Navigator.
Oh, and I was gonna say that too. That's when you mentioned that. What qualifies that? Like, what qualifies a B movie? Because it is Disney, it is a Disney production, but Flight of the Navigator is bad?
Flight of the Navigator is not bad. It just, I feel like it played the same role in the early 80s, or late 80s, early 90s, that The Prestige and the, what's the other one? TV Travis is yelling
Illusionist?
at me, right? Yes, thank you. The Prestige and Illusionist came out at the same time. I wonder if some people saw The Flight of the Navigator and didn't realize it, but saw E.T., because it's kind of the same.
Kind of the same vibe-ish, but TV Travis is telling us it's not a bad movie. We're not arguing it's a bad movie, but is it a B movie?
I don't think it's a B movie.
But like,
it has Sarah Jessica Parker in it at her like earliest role.
Number one, Sarah Jessica Parker and Sheryl Crow are basically the same person. Number two, you could swap their faces out with a horse, and you're good. I'm not a fan.
Anyway, I recently watched, because it was a childhood memory for me, and I'm kind of all about nostalgia right now. I'm rewatching Buffy, I'm rewatching Boy Meets World, just positive things in my life.
So basically a lot of bangs.
Mental health.
A lot of bangs and layered, like, tights and skirts, basically, is what you're watching.
But I watched Flight of the Navigator, and it was another one. TV Travis is very mad at you right now.
So is Jote, apparently. We're fighting.
But Flight of the Navigator would probably be another one of my go-to quote-unquote B movies as being interesting. But I think it fights that same line of being in the same wavelength as E.T.
We're going favorite B movies, and again, B movie is a rough thing. Army of Darkness still ties that line of it's not a blockbuster, but it's such a cult classic, and it's still very B movie. Like Bruce Campbell still I like Bruce Campbell. I just straight up, Bruce Campbell's amazing. So you have to look and go, does a movie like that qualify for, like, what is a B movie? And I think it becomes a harder question to ask because of the interconnectivity that we have through social media, through the world is a big place, but it's getting smaller and smaller and smaller due to digital connection.
Right.
Again, physical distancing is one thing, but social distancing is not going to happen. We are more connected now than we ever have been in society. Do you consider these movies that would be a B movie, air quote, actually be a B movie? Because, again, Evil Dead, Army of Darkness, at the time, they were garbage movies. Like, they're kind of thrown away, here we go. But to become, I mean, Rocky Horror Picture Show would still technically be a B movie.
I don't feel like that's a B movie. Just again, maybe we need to subsection a B movie.
But the cult itself, the fan base, is the one that drove it to popularity. It's not something that producers were happy about. It's not something that is marketed to make money in that regard.
Okay.
But it has become a fan gravitate, like the fans gravitate. It is something that's surpassed what it is.
What the expectations were based on. I mean, even Princess Bride would technically be a B movie.
I mean, Princess Bride would
on those characteristics
dance a line of a B movie because it's in the theater for much, probably didn't make big sales, but has been glommed onto our second tier movie in terms of what? So TV Travis, and I will put weight on TV Travis because he is definitely a movie guy, and in fact, we'll give him a shameless plug of TV Travis's podcast is a bunch of stuff involving movies they haven't seen, you haven't seen, that sees these movies maybe for the first time or kind of like I've seen half of it and catching up with it.
I would err it on the side of cult classics versus, oh, wait, you haven't seen Alien or... But
Aliens I wouldn't put as a B movie because it is also pushed as this huge blockbuster success. Even in the theaters it did well. So I can see that it's not a huge budget and it's not mass marketed. Except we did Alien.
So, oh man. Okay, so what would be your favorite B movie?
Again, depending where we go. I mean, obviously we could go Army of Darkness was probably still one of my early movies, but if you're not going to say that's maybe too
I don't know, your sister sent you one that we still haven't watched.
That's not a B movie. Wizard, whatever that is like a C, D. That is like that is what's his face? Green, Mr. Green from old MTV days. Hated. I mean, it's like saying Andy Dick is a B-list celebrity. No, he's not. He's like D, C, like Z-list celebrity. So that's what Wizards is, like a Z-list movie.
Got it.
Yeah, again, though, I mean, I think that would probably go maybe Monkey Bone.
Oh, is
Brendan Fraser?
I was gonna say though, is Monkey Bone? Is that just an A movie that
flopped hard and became so I would say it's an A movie that flopped hard, but yeah, I've got a weird collection. I've definitely posted it up, and maybe I'll post it again of my unique taste in movies because I just like weird stuff, and mostly my sisters are to blame for it because my baby sister always gets me Alien stuff every year for Christmas. Long joke or something we'll talk about later. And, like, yeah, I don't know, man.
Don't give him credit, TV Travis. Don't stop.
Anyway.
Stop.
Anything else we want to add here, or we're gonna cut things off? I think we'll cut the recording, but we'll stay on Twitch for a little bit longer for anybody that wants to chat with us.
Yeah, I think that's a good call. Again, reach out to your local artists, support them in ways that you can. If you can't, again, some of us can't financially support them. You've got to save. You've got your own families to support, but the least you can do is share them, share their products, share their what they're actually releasing. Same with us. Please, we have started to follow some of our analytics. We've started to reach out and see some of the people that we're reaching, and
we have a lot of Apple users.
We do have a lot of Apple users that we weren't necessarily expecting. I am not an Apple user. Red is not an Apple user. So if you are an Apple user, or if you have access to an Apple profile, please leave a 5-star review. It gets our name out there.
We don't have to do 5-star. We accept honesty. Let's go. 5-star is fantastic. But leaving some sort of review will kind of push the metrics a little bit, wink, wink. So, not to sound like a typical YouTuber, but like, subscribe, leave a comment, blah, blah, blah.
But let us get us out there, get our name out there. We really like providing content for our fans and for our people that give our Patreons. Please.
It's motivation for us too.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, like motivation is hitting everybody. It's sometimes I like doing the show. Sometimes it's hard when it's like, okay, we got to get this going, get the setup going. Here we go.
Once we start it, it's fine, and it's really just
I'm drunk and having a good time now. I hate the 4 hours of setting up the audio prior.
So yeah, please reach out, leave a review, share, like. Let's pimp our own stuff. Let's pimp our friends' stuff. A lot of small businesses out there. Just share the love. Share the enjoyment of being different and providing a service.
And as always, if you want to throw $1 our way or $5, or I think you made a coffee account, which is like a one-time $3 donation. Like that obviously goes to audio equipment. It goes to keeping the streams and the services alive. And yeah, I mean, it's awesome. And those who have and like again
continue to do so.
Continue
we
to do so. We
you.
super appreciate it, and we do owe you guys. And as for my takeaway for today, check on your extroverted friends. Make sure that they're okay. Make sure they have been watered and they have been fed
and they've seen sunlight.
And there's and if they haven't seen sunlight, vitamin D, give them that vitamin D. And some vitamin C and some other things. I don't know the sciences behind vitamins, but if you're into vitamins, take some vitamins to help make your brain thinks there's sunlight. I know there's actually UV lighting, like UV light fixtures.
I could, if going to the gym was still a thing, I could go and do that at Planet Fitness and sit in a light to get the stimulation.
So consider some of those things. Even if for a little bit, you could find some sort of, happy lights.
Happy lights.
Find something like that. Even if you give yourself a little dosage for a little bit, it might help stave off some of the, I want to say seasonal depression, because realistically the seasonal depression might last a little bit longer than it normally does, because we're going to be, air quote, quarantined until all through April. So, as usual, look out for your friends, look out for your extroverts, look out for everybody, and much love. We are going to close this off, though, as per normal. We will be around on Twitch for a little bit longer if anybody has questions and just want to shoot the shit with us, because I would like another beer and maybe start eating some sushi. But, as we always say, thanks to our friend Seabass, Travis, Improve Your Day.
To improve your day.
To improve your day on Facebook. We are all geeks. And to be otherwise may very well mean to live without passion. Have a good night.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Gray Muzzle Geekery with Dusty Red and Dusty White.
You can support our continued geekery at our Patreon website, patreon.com/graymuzzlegeekery. Be sure to check back often as we start to add geek cred levels.
You can send your questions and comments to us at graymuzzlegeekery@gmail.com or find us on Twitter at graymuzzlegeek.
We can be found on iTunes, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, and Buzzsprout.
And a special thank you to Pepper Coyote for our intro theme. And if you like what you heard, you can find more of his stuff on Spotify, Patreon, or directly from his Bandcamp page.